some very good news. This is a story from Fox Business. Target loses $9 billion amid Pride merchandising controversy.
I love it.
Target stock is experiencing its worst 6-day stretch since the 6 days ending May 25th. And not only that, Bud Light's, Anheuser-Busch's stock, they've wiped out all of their gains from the year so far. They're now down for the year.
Fantastic.
This is the Bud Light effect. It was the catalyst. Bud Light was the easiest thing to boycott for anybody. Yep. And they did. Near 30% sales dropped. Mm-hmm. Now Target is scared, saying, we don't want to end up like Bud Light. The fear now is this social effect where the people who held on to their Anheuser-Busch stock because they were assured by the media, don't worry, these things will fizzle out. They've lost a lot of money. Mm-hmm. A lot. I think it's like 12 or 13%. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're hearing this, so you experienced that a month ago. You're like, I got my Anheuser-Busch stock at $65. I'm not worried about it. Now it's at, 50 something. I don't know where it's at. You're going, okay, I just lost a ton of money. I can't let this happen again. So people are probably going to start selling off more and more Anheuser-Busch stock because the price is going down. It's become a sell, not a hold, not a buy. Target then becomes the subject of controversy. If you just lost a ton of money on Anheuser-Busch stock and you're sitting there seeing the news, I'm assuming a lot of these people say, nope, I am selling right now. I don't need to hold on to Target. I can hold on to any other stock. I'll buy Apple. I'll buy Tesla. I'm moving my money. Boom, stock starts dropping. Then it creates a cascade effect where other people go, they call up their broker, or they call up their wealth management manager or whatever and say, why is my portfolio going down? And say, oh, well, Target just suffered a major drop off. Oh, well, sell. Why are we in it? Why are we in Target right now? How many people are now it's not even an impact of the boycott. It's an impact of, if there is fear in the public that a stock will drop due to boycott, that will be a self-fulfilling prophecy, the Bud Light effect. If you go woke, your stock will drop. People are going to start selling off. And if you don't, you will be the one holding the empty bag. And that's the sentiment where people go, not going to be me with the hot potato. There's a billion other stocks to buy. Nobody cares about Target stock. So while it's not so easy to boycott a big box store like Target if it's the only one in your neighborhood, it's really easy to buy a different stock to put your money in.
Very easy.
Mm-hmm. Very easy.
Very smart.
That's what I think we're seeing. That's what I think we may be seeing that now.
And Target's 100% reinforcing what you're saying. They are just as panicked. They're quietly moving things off their website. We're seeing these reports of some stores being told to relocate their merchandise. They had that collaboration with, I think it's called Abharlin. It's the UK. He says he's not a Satanist, by the way, but it's this guy named Eric Carnell.
I saw the shirt.
Yeah, he says he's not. He just makes some fun Satanist merchandise. But the gay trans-identifying designer, who in turn, so I wrote this story about Target a couple days ago. I was checking out some of this person's merchandising, and I noticed that Eric Carnell's stuff today has been moved off the Target website. This person has also closed his Etsy and his storefront. Wow. And has pulled posts from social media that were like basically anti-cis. They had like lighters that said burn the system down, CIS.
Super cool.
A homophobic headdress, and it's a guillotine. And if you can find this stuff on Twitter, so people grab the screenshots. All of these comments, they're basically like, we need to destroy this system. It's not enough to just ask to be accepted. We have to dismantle what's there. Very radical kind of semi-calls for violence. And it's a really interesting time where Target panicked. And so this person panicked, and you can see the effect. Now
he's destroying Target, right? Not the whole system.
I don't know. I mean, in some ways, he's
a catalyst.
Yeah.
Well, and then Reuters ran this article that was like, this UK designer that collaborated with Target is seeing a rise in sales, and that's why he closed his website.
What?
I don't think that's true. I just want to put that out on air right now.
I don't think that's true
he
either,
is
Hannah Claire.
scrubbing his stuff to make sure anything that is deemed controversial or radical is off. Now that you might be able to capitalize on sympathetic leftist dollars.
Or stop trying to groom our children.
No, that's too hard. They can't do that.
They don't know how.
I just feel like
or just don't do that.
The culture war elements of this are less important than the monetary elements of this.
I agree.
There's going to be, I'm imagining it. There's a young wealth manager guy. He's managing some portfolios for some people. They get on the phone and he goes, "Look, I'm going to recommend against Target stock. There's some controversy going on. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it's probably risky. Let's move you over to something safer. Maybe we'll put you over here somewhere else."
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why I don't just start shorting these stocks as soon as these stories break.
I think
That is not financial advice because we're not allowed to give that on this show.
I think
we're
part of
very
it
careful about not giving that advice.
in years past, this type of panic hasn't been that effective, right? Like we saw a slow burn after the cutie stuff on Netflix of people being like, I'm leaving Netflix. And they did see some trouble. It wasn't as dramatic as the Bud Light issue, but right now, this has really hit a nerve. And to follow so quickly after that, you can see people feeling more motivated. They saw their decision to boycott having a financial impact. Maybe they can do it again. They can really feel like they're making a
So
difference.
I have a 4-year-old daughter, I have a 2-year-old daughter, and I have a 4-month-old little boy. And my wife was religiously shopping at Target. And if you're telling me that we're selling bathing suits that allow you to tuckable bathing suits to children,
They weren't for kids.
No, the children's ones say thoughtfully made for any type of body and gender expression.
Exactly. So it was like a double entendre in that case, right? So they were kind of doing both. But also, I don't even want my children walking past that stuff.
Amen.
Right.
That's just number one.
Yeah.
So you were talking about ice cream earlier, and my kids love ice cream. And if I left it up to them, my little daughter would eat ice cream for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So why in God's name would I allow my child to select her gender at 4, 5, 6, 7 years old before she's even an adult? I don't like the idea of even walking our children in front of this. Am I anti-trans? No. When you're an adult, you can do whatever you want in this country.
As long as you're not hurting other people.
As long as you're not hurting anybody else. And in fact, it's my job as a United States congressman to keep the federal government actually out of your life.
Absolutely.
That's actually what I'm trying to do more than anything else. But for children, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think, real quick, I think what we may be seeing with Target is that it's not actually a boycott from conservatives. I think this reaction was so rapid that regular people walked in and had a very negative reaction. Like, why is this in front of my kids? And these are not political people.
But so this is a 75-25 issue in this country. So when it's a 75-25 issue, that means this is not a partisan issue. This is literally people being like, I might be liberal, but this is insane.
Yeah. Well, the first time I heard about this was on an Instagram Reels of, a leftist, influencer saying basically like, why are they pandering to us with this weird pride stuff? They're making fun of the fact that there's like a queer all year calendar. Like, nobody wants that. Why did Target do this? They only hurt themselves.
ESG, baby. No, they're trying to virtue signal. That's it. They want to be
true,
the
but the people they're virtue signaling don't like it.
They don't want it.
Well,
and that's why
they have a shirt that says "Live, Laugh, Lesbian." I don't know
what does that
happening.
even mean.
I don't know.
Well, I don't
this
understand.
Is what Target was like, we're gonna win.
It's provocative.
Yeah, I guess it's provocative.
Like, going.
No. It's capitalism.
Oh my gosh.
Target
Classic.
is just they're falling in line with the ESG stuff. If you want funding and financing, ESG is the way to go. And then they're thinking this is what people like.
Mm-hmm.
The reason these companies do it is because they think if this is what's popular socially, this is what's in Hollywood. Now that there is a negative impact and people saw Bud Light, the Bud Light thing is a major shift in the culture war.
Yeah.
Because now these companies are going, no, that's controversial and you'll lose money. Don't do it.
Exactly. Like it used to be the case that
That's what it should be. Just drink beer.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it used to be the case that getting political was controversial. And now it's been the case that getting political isn't controversial as long as it's a left-wing opinion. But the left has gone so far that they're getting back to the point where leftism is once again beginning to be seen as controversial. Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
This is good news. This is a very optimistic moment for everybody, I think. I think we're going to start seeing more of these stock drop-offs. We saw with Netflix something similar, maybe a precursor to this, when they lost something like 2 million. How many subscribers did they lose? Millions of subscribers or something like that. And we don't know exactly why, but a lot of people think it may be because of the Cuties thing, because of Big Mouth and these other shows that they're like, we don't want to pay for this. I think Disney is now experiencing a major
bring that up.
User drop-off. And I think get woke, go broke is starting to become more and more pronounced.
Starting to catch.
But I think it's because the left has just gone too far.
Exactly. I think you're right. It's not a conservative issue, or it's not political. Because when you lose that many subscribers, they all aren't conservatives that are subscribed. It's actually people that are parents that are looking at something and they think to themselves, I can't explain to you what perverted is, but I know it when I see it.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And any parent that cares about their kids, they're going to protect their kids from that.
Exactly.
I'm crazy nut job parent.
The parents are going to, technically, that doesn't have to be inherently sexual, so we
Not
can try
gonna
to
happen.
separate it out. Yeah, they're going to, I don't want this near my kid.
I think it's much. I think it's much simpler than that.
Yeah.
I think the parent turns on Netflix and is clicking through and goes, I don't think we should have this on the TV, honey, because we don't want the kids watching it. Okay, well, I'll just cancel. I bet they don't even think that much about it. Mm-hmm. For the average person, life is much simpler than those of us who are entrenched in culture war issues.
For sure.
They walk into Target and they go, "Oh my God, let's go somewhere else."
I don't want this.
They don't even say
I think exactly what you're talking about. They look at it and on some level register, I don't want to have this conversation with my kids. It's not even at the forefront of the brain. It's just like a repulse. And now let's just separate from it. They don't want to be a part of it.
I'm really glad I'm here right now.
We're glad you're here too, man.
This is so good to hear because I'm constantly surrounded by I think highly informed people. We always get into these pragmatic conversations and we go down these rabbit holes. And I think sometimes it's gonna take a step back in here. I think you're right. I think it is
much simpler.
People.
Yeah. Well, because look. When I heard about Target losing all this money, I'm like, there's no way conservatives organized a boycott this effective this quickly.
Conservatives can't do anything.
No, that's impossible.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Oxymoronic. There's just no way.
When they said that there were confrontations, I was like, if there were confrontations, it was not because Matt Walsh got on his show and said, we're going to boycott Bud Light. Wow. It's because a regular person with his 4-year-old daughter walked in and went, oh my God, Daddy, what's a lesbian? Where did you see that?
It said live, laugh, lesbian. He's like, that's not even grammatical. It's banned in this house.
To be fair,
don't laugh.
Maybe a little bit older than 4. I don't know what year a lot of these kids are learning to read, but they probably, I don't know if they can read the word lesbian or even notice it.
Yeah.
But the parents probably see these things right when they walk in and say, I don't want my kid. I'm not going to explain to my 4-year-old what these things are. Look,
such a good point.
We don't have, these are sexual subjects.
Yes.
The left denies, but they literally are. LGBT is a reference. Well, LGB is a reference to who you enjoy engaging in adult activities with.
Yeah. Correct.
And then they added T to it, which is transgender, which doesn't necessarily relate to the others. That's why there's been a controversy there. But if you're putting something up right in the front display being like, celebrate who you have sex with, you are now having to explain to children what this means and why. Mm-hmm. And you're like, my kids aren't ready for the birds and the bees talk, let alone LGBT birds and the bees talk. You walk into Target normally, what do you see? You see the Easter Bunny. You see Reese's peanut butter cups. You see sweaters.
Santa Claus.
Nowadays,
Christmas stuff. Yeah.
The way it's going, they're
not anymore.
Dude, the way it's going, they'll be like trying to tell them about sodomy, and then when you want to talk about the birds and the bees, they're like, they're too young for that. Like, they can't have this conversation.
There was in these schools, when Ron DeSantis started banning these pornographic books,
perverted,
they're kink books, explaining. These things are not sexual.
It's fetish porn,
right? It's fetish porn. Nikki Fried called it butt plug porn, mocking Ron DeSantis, not realizing she was proving his point.
Exactly.
Yes.
When I showed this to a lefty friend of mine, he says it's sex ed. I said, no, it's not. This is kink education for children. That's ridiculous. It shouldn't exist.
It's like, if you think that is sex ed, I don't even want to know what you think sex is.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Well, when you take a light bulb and then you heat it up, the idea.
This is not how human beings function. This is not how man's body was built to function.
And now we understand why homeschooling's on the rise.
Now you get it.
Look, earmuffs for your kids, but I just got to say this: when we make fun of people who go to the hospital with foreign objects lodged in their rectums, it's because you can't do that. Yeah. But people develop paraphilias and fetishes where they do things to their bodies that are damaging.
Yes.
We don't want to make people develop behaviors that are harmful to them, and we want to protect children from these things. Why would a school teach a child about putting foreign objects into their anus is beyond me, but I'm glad Ron DeSantis said F that and got rid of it.
Yes. Ooh, but it's not beyond you. You know why they're doing it. We know why they're doing it.
Because they want kids?
They're groomers.
They're groomers.
Yeah, they're groomers. That's it.
Because I'll say, Target already came out on the Pride issue a long time ago. They sell like Mr. and Mr. Wedding cards. Like, they're fine. It's this year's specific push for the transgender, gender fluid issue that is, I think, really enraging people, or maybe bringing attention to an aspect of all of this that people are firmly against, right?
Well, and this is something conservatives have to remember when we message this, okay? The conversation is not over, why do kids need to see this? We know they don't. The question is, why do you need kids to see this? Why do you need to show this disgusting fetish porn to children? What's wrong with you? The conversation has to be about the person who's trying to show this stuff to kids.
Democrat Nikki Fried in Florida called the material that got banned butt plug porn.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because she was making fun of Ron DeSantis, and it was like, thank you for proving his point.
That's the whole point.
Like,
Yep.
That shouldn't be for
sick.
children.
That's not for kids.
He was saying this is in school, and she's like, can you believe he shared this on Twitter in front of adults? It's like, it's being shown to children in schools, you lunatic.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.